All right. Sort of Sports Podcast, episode 93. I mean, we got a lot to talk about today because we're going to start off with the NCAA tournament recap. All right, so I thought it was going to be NC State over UConn for the men's. And for the women's, I had UConn over South Carolina. The opposite happened. No, not the opposite happened for men's, I guess. UConn did advance, but they ended up winning over Purdue in a relatively boring game. To be perfectly honest, wasn't that interested. I had Monday Night Raw running, and then that's next to it, but that was on mute. Monday Night Raw was not. I mean, my weekend of sports, I said I had a huge weekend of sports because I had WrestleMania, the Final Four for both men's and women's, and then tonight's WNBA draft, and then the NBA playoffs start this week. So I'm in a great time right now. And plus, MLB is starting up. We're in that. People keep asking me what I think about the Shohei Ohtani betting scandal. To me, I really don't care. I still think he's incredible. I'm more upset about him going to the Dodgers. Did he do it? I don't know. I'm not a private detective. If you want to, we can call Michael Weston. I think that would work. I don't know. Michael's not really a PI, I guess. Well, yeah. So, I guess we could call Thomas Magnum, right? If we want to figure out what's going on. Columbo would definitely be able to figure it out. But, yeah, I just don't have too much of an opinion. Juan Soto pushing Josh Naylor. That was odd. Did not expect that from Juan Soto. Still like Juan Soto, though. Hoping he doesn't get a contract extension from the Yankees. It's my real goal. Not that I don't want him to get money. It's just I don't want he to be on the Yankees. That just, icky and gross. All right. Okay, so back to what we were talking about, NCAA. It was disappointing to see DJ Burns and NC State lose to Purdue. That Purdue team is no fun. And then they didn't beat. They lost to UConn in a relatively boring game that I feel like now everybody's just going to look for their new Dan Hurley. He is the coach of college basketball definitively now. Everybody's going to look for that coach that can recruit pretty good prospects but not get like the top guy like a Cooper Flagg. They go for the guys underneath that, and then they build a team that can win national championships. That's what Dan Hurley's been doing. That's what he's going to continue to do. I'd be very surprised if UConn got like a number one recruit in the next couple of years because I don't think that's what Dan wants. I think he wants guys that are going to be there for a couple of years, at least 2, and guys that are going to fit in his team, not just guys that have a 5-star rating attached. I think that's interesting. I think Cooper Flagg next year for Duke's going to be fun. He might bring that Christian Laettner hatred back to Duke, and that would be pretty interesting, pretty fun. But and what else? Obviously, was very upset. DJ Burns, NC State went down. UConn going back-to-back is pretty crazy. Last time team went back-to-back, I was 3 years old, and I do not remember watching the Florida Gators go back-to-back. So props to UConn for that. I don't even think, do I have anything else? I don't believe I do. I think that's kind of all I had to say about that. For women's, disappointed that Clark couldn't get it done. I don't really think it's her fault, though. I mean, she had like 30 points in the game, and I think she played well. Everybody's like, well, she could have made some more shots. I'm like, okay, you want her to shoot perfect from the field? My goodness. I mean, she can only do so much. I feel like that South Carolina team was a lot more talented than that Iowa team. Cardozo, I mean, goodness. She is massive. We're going to talk about her more in a minute when I talk about the WNBA draft tonight. I mean, huge girl and also very good at basketball. So, yeah, Cardozo, just absolutely nuts. 6'7" Brazilian. Yeah, she can play. So, it'll be interesting to see how her game translates to WNBA, but that was always going to be tough for Iowa. And then on top of that, I can't remember her name, but she went off the bench. She was killing as a freshman. Had like the most points she's had so far in her career at South Carolina. And really, just props to Dawn Staley for building that program. She's been there, I think, 16 years now? She's been there a long time. And she's made it one of the premier programs in women's college basketball. So it's going to be interesting to see if Iowa continues to be elite, like if there's going to be little girls that grew up watching Caitlin Clark and now they're coming out of high school and they want to go to Iowa because of her, or if it's, South Carolina is really just the new hotness. That'll be really interesting to see. Also say, I think next year it's going to end up being UConn, South Carolina. I feel like that's just kind of a done deal in my mind. I feel like UConn is going to get there next year. Between having Fudd back, they just got the number 1 recruit in this year's class, and Paige Beckers is going into her last year. I feel like it's going to come together for UConn next year, so that's going to be very exciting. I think they're going to shift the marketing to Juju and Paige. Maybe they're going to find somebody in South Carolina they're going to market. But Juju and Paige are definitely going to be the main focuses. And obviously they'll have to find other ones too. But it's really exciting. I think women's college basketball is going to continue to be very popular, and I think the WNBA is about to have its point where it gets popular. And I will say, my favorite WNBA team will just be wherever Paige Beckers goes. So for this next season, when I watch, I'll probably just watch whoever I feel like, most likely the Fever because of Caitlin Clark. But after that, really wherever Beckers goes will be my squad. So I'm just stating that right now. Oh, Haley Van Lith is transferring too. That makes sense. She's got to make her draft stock higher because right now I don't think she's getting drafted. So she's got to grow that. Oh, people keep asking me about what I think about Bronny. I think Bronny is not going to get drafted. I think he'll be an undrafted free agent for the Lakers. I just think that's what makes sense. LeBron said, I got you, son. Come on. All right. I know I don't seem very high energy. It's because, well, granted, I woke up at 7:30 this morning. It's 11, and I drove an hour and a half. So it kind of took it on me a little bit. But then on top of that, I just don't have that much to say about college basketball right now. I'm sad. I wanted UConn to win for women's, and I wanted NC State to win for men's. And then obviously they both lost the Final Four. The national championship, I watched more heavily the women's and the men's. I was really locked in for the women's. I wanted to see Caitlin win it. I know I said it's more interesting if she loses, but I think it's still true. But at that moment, I guess I should say, not this moment. At that moment, I really wanted to see her win, and it did not happen. So hopefully that haunts her, and that leads her to be like a 5-time WNBA champion. Something crazy. Really, the biggest thing I think about the WNBA that's going to be huge is once they get this more money, they're going to get more teams, and that's going to spread the talent more, and it's going to make it a more interesting league. Because right now, a lot of the talent's very stacked, is based off what I hear when I read about it. Because I'm not going to lie to you guys, I don't know much about a WNBA, but I'm about to, so here we go. WNBA draft talk. Let's shift to that. So first thing going on is obviously the Fever got the number 1 pick. They're going to take Caitlin Clark. That's like a done deal. Here's what's crazy to me. So the Sparks have the 2 pick and the 4 pick. Cameron Brink is most, definitely the 2 pick. Absolute beast. Okay. Then they get to turn around the 4 pick, and they could potentially get Camila Cardozo. They could have the biggest line, oh my gosh. I know there's taller players in WNBA. I'm not stupid. I do know that. But I'm saying that's a big lineup with Cardozo and Cameron Brink as your twin towers set. Chicago Sky have the 3 pick. Every mock draft I've seen has Rickea Jackson from Tennessee going 3. If all the mock drafts saying that, and I don't know that much, I believe it. All the mock drafts I've seen have also said J.C. Sheldon from Ohio State's going 5. I get that she has a pro-ready game, but I do think Aaliyah Edwards is probably better. But all the mock drafts I keep seeing say J.C. Sheldon's going at 5. Now, what's interesting is the Chicago Sky made a trade, and they went from the 8 pick to the 7 pick, which makes me think they want Angel Reese. So they're going to pair her with Rickea Jackson. So that'll be interesting. My mom said wherever Angel Reese goes will be her favorite team. So it might be Chicago Sky. Because to me that would make sense. I don't know why you'd trade up unless there was somebody you really liked. To me, Angel Reese would be that prospect you really liked. But I'm really excited for WNBA. I think it starts off in May. And the Fever had 1 nationally televised game last year. And now once they get Caitlin Clark, they're going to have 36. So that'll be exciting. Let's talk about the thing I really want to talk about. Well, it's funny because this episode, Usually it doesn't all line up this way, where WrestleMania and March Madness recap and NBA playoffs are all together. But I thought about recording this weekend and just doing last weekend and doing NCAA tournament recap and WrestleMania. But then I was like, you know what? I might as well just wait till I'm doing NBA playoff predictions. So now we just get this big, massive episode where I talk about everything. So hopefully you believe that was the right move, because there is literally no changing it now. Yeah. Unless you want to like pause this halfway through and then wait a couple days and listen to the NBA playoffs part. That's the closest you're going to get. But I'm not doing the intro again. I'm not saying all right again. Well, technically I just did, but that doesn't, you know what I mean. Okay. Yeah, WrestleMania 40. First WrestleMania I've watched all the way through live. When I was younger, we'd have WrestleMania parties, but we were like little kids, so we couldn't stay out late on a Sunday night. So what we would do is we would watch it the Saturday after it happened, and none of us would watch Monday Night Raw and purposely avoid YouTube videos that talked about spoilers for WrestleMania, and then we would watch it that Saturday night, like 6 days later. The first WrestleMania I remember watching some of was WrestleMania 32. I very clearly remember that League of Nations match for some reason, because I knew who Sheamus was. My buddy was a really big Sheamus guy. Like, I thought Sheamus was like a top guy. Which is just funny. Because I like Sheamus, but he's not like top, you know. Who I think Rock at 32. I remember Stone Cold, Rock, and Hogan, I think, were all together. I think that was what happened to 32. Yeah. I remember very clearly that video package between Undertaker and Shane McMahon, that Hell in a Cell match. It's the first time I ever watched a Hell in a Cell match. I was blown away, because my only experience of Hell in a Cell matches were the video games, where they're like the best match type. In real life, not as much, but that match was fun when Shane McMahon threw himself off the top of the cell. That was crazy. Crazy spot. Don't know why he did that. Honestly, wild for that. But anyways, that was the first WrestleMania I remember watching. But this is the first one I actually watched the whole way through with my family, with G. G seemed to enjoy it a decent amount. She gets annoyed by all the kickouts, which I think's funny. She's like, if a match has more than 3 kickouts, I'm pissed. And I'm like, I get it. And then she doesn't really like the entrances, but I eat the entrances up. And especially because it's WrestleMania. It's like peak pageantry. Peak kick-out shock. Like, it is the most exaggerated form of professional wrestling at WrestleMania. Let's talk about WrestleMania itself. First of all, 2-night format is the way it's got to be. That's so needed. I'm so glad they changed that. I remember when I was younger, I remember very clearly WrestleMania 34 was the first WrestleMania that I had as a fan, where I like watched the product heavily. Like, I knew what was happening week to week. When I watched WrestleMania 32, I just kind of I knew who the wrestlers were. I didn't really watch much. Whereas WrestleMania 34 was the first WrestleMania where it was like I watched week to week. I kept track of what was going on. I knew all the storylines going in, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember we were on a trip for my sister. They were in softball. We were in Florida. And I remember WrestleMania was all, Sunday night. That was the night. And TakeOver was Saturday. WrestleMania was Sunday. And I remember that weekend was so cool watching all those YouTube videos. That was back when it was like Cultaholic was at its peak, putting out wrestling content. Because I think nowadays, if I'm not mistaken, they just kind of do top 10 lists. But that was back when they would do like graded and what happened. I think now they probably just do what happened at and news and top 10s. Let me check. I haven't watched them in a while because I think that's all they do now. They still have the podcast, which is fun. Yeah, they do some stuff, but they used to do a lot more week to week, like the gradeds and the punishments and all that type of stuff. All the type of stuff that a junior high boy loves to watch. That's pro wrestling content. That was always a joy of mine. Yeah. Let me look at their oldest, see if they like it truly is a different thing. Yeah, it was back when they had WTF moments. What happened? The gradeds, 10 pitches. I don't know if they still do the pitch videos. Those were fun. Breaking news. Yeah, now they do news a lot more, and I guess it wasn't that different. Yeah, it wasn't too different, I guess. Oh, Wrestlers of the Week. Oh, man, I ate Wrestlers of the Week up. loved Wrestlers of the Week. But anyways, Wrestlers of the Week is the way I learned about New Japan and Kenny Omega and everything. And I started following Kenny. Well, I don't know about that. I think I heard about Kenny because I remember a video. It's like, how big of a deal is Wrestle Kingdom 12 having Kenny Omega fight Chris Jericho? I was like, what is it? What? There's other promotions outside WWE? And then Wrestlers of the Week introduced me to Walter. I remember Walter, first time I heard about him, it was in Wrestlers of the Week. That's so crazy to think about. Now, that was back when Walter was in PWG. It's so wild. That was the first time I heard about Will Ospreay. Now he's probably the biggest non-WWE name out there. Maybe it is still Kenny, but I think Will Ospreay makes an argument. It's like him and Okada. Might be him even more than Okada at this point. Will's such a big deal. But, no, MJF. I feel like it's probably MJF, actually. But anyways, WrestleMania 40, I like how it's 2 nights. I really enjoyed what they did with the tag match. I thought it was fun. You knew they were going to lose. You knew Seth and Cody were going to lose. They did. And, I mean, what can I say about the Bloodline rules match other than, the Roman versus Cody? He finished the story. The entrance was electric, where he had the skull mask like Triple H. The locker room coming out afterwards to congratulate him. I really thought Stone Cold was going to show up. I was slightly disappointed. It was actually funny. When he put Roman in that final crossroads, I yelled, wait, they can't end it now. Stone Cold isn't there yet. And then 1, 2, 3, and then I yelled something along the lines of holy shit, he won. Because I just wasn't ready at that point. I figured Stone Cold was still going to come out. I was like, there was a part of me that's like, maybe they're not going to let him finish the story. And then they did, and that was awesome. For a long time there, Roman Reigns, my favorite wrestler. And then, it was Kenny was for a while there, and then it was Roman. And Kenny's my favorite non-WWE, and still is. And then LA Knight made a big run there, but it's probably still Roman. And then I never was the biggest Cody guy. I thought he was fine. But this run over the last couple months, I've really bought into Cody, and I really love Cody. And he might flat out be my favorite at this point. He's pretty excellent. But probably my 2 favorite wrestlers going at it. The only way it could have been better if it was a triple threat with LA Knight. Yeah, my 3rd favorite. Those are my top 3 easily right now. And a little disappointed to see my boy Stone, one of my favorites of all time. But Undertaker there made sense. I understand. They said now that it was supposed to be Stone's spot. Couldn't agree on money. I think it's funny because I'm willing to bet Stone Cold said something along the lines of, well, I know The Rock's getting paid a ton, so I want paid a ton. And they were like, no. And he was like, okay, fine, I won't. It's just funny to me that he's still a petty old man. It's just humorous. But because he doesn't carry Stone Cold. That's my guess. But granted, I don't know Stone Cold personally, so I'm just kidding. But to me, that'd be funny. If he was like, well, I know The Rock's making a ton of money, so I want to make a bunch of money. And they're like, no, we're not paying you as much as you're paying The Rock. And he's like, okay, then I won't do it. And that's, or something similar to The Rock, right? I don't know. Probably not, but I think it's funny. Yeah, it was great match. Man, what more could you want? The locker room coming out after to congratulate Cody was awesome. And the rest of the show was really good. I'd say the Uso match wasn't the strongest, I will admit. But I don't think it was as awful as everybody acts like it is. LA Knight versus AJ Styles, really impressed. Everything on night 2 is banger. The street fight match with Snoop Dogg was so much fun. It was absolutely electric. That was really fun. Everything with Drew McIntyre Rollins was a good match. Loved everything about that match. Like the post after with Punk, like the cash-in. That was just all perfect. Loved everything there. Yeah, it's really interesting about what this sets up for WWE in the future. Because one of my favorite non-WWE wrestlers, Tama Tonga, debuted in WWE last SmackDown Friday night. So he's joined the Bloodline. Solo Sikoa said it's under the orders from the Tribal Chief. It feels like we're headed to a SummerSlam Roman versus Solo, most likely. I feel like we're going to save Roman versus Rollins for a future date. I would be very surprised if we get Roman versus Rollins at SummerSlam, being honest. Then at Survivor Series, they're going to do War Games between Roman's Bloodline and Rock's Bloodline. Roman's being Jimmy J, Sammy and him. Rock's being Tama Tonga, Solo Sikoa, and I guess Jacob Fatu is probably going to debut, I think is the rumor, and that'll be the other guy. So of a War Games match, most likely the heels will win, Rock's bloodline, because they're going to turn Roman face and he comes back, which I cannot wait for. I'm super excited. Hope the new theme song's good, though. And then you set up Roman versus Rock at Mania 41, which would be absolutely electric. Cannot wait for that. As far as Raw goes with the World Heavyweight Championship, I think most likely it's going to be Drew regains it at Clash at the Castle. Is that still what it's called? I saw somebody say it's Bash at Berlin. Is that actually a thing? You know what? Right now, I'm going to look up the WWE PLE schedule for 2024 because I need to make sure I'm right on this one. Okay, it is still Clash at the Castle. Oh, Bash at Berlin's in August. Oh, I didn't realize they were doing two. Wow, I didn't realize those were two separate shows. So Clash at the Castle's in June. Yeah, that'd be about right. For Drew, let Judgment Day have like a month and a half. Well, it's about 2 months, actually. Yeah, 2 months. Let Judgment Day have 2 months with the World Heavyweight Championship. Drew probably regains it in Scotland. Clash at the Castle. That would be pretty epic. And then he loses it to Punk at SummerSlam, which is the next PLE. No, it's not the next PLE. Money in the Bank's after that, which LA Knight should win. And then SummerSlam in Cleveland, you can have Punk beat him, which then sets you up for what I think should happen, which is John Cena returns at the Rumble, loses. He should be like the last one eliminated. That'd be perfect. And puts his career on the line for the 17th his 17th world title reign. Him versus CM Punk, career versus title. I mean, what would be more perfect? A friend of mine, Eli, pointed this out, said this would make a lot of sense. I think it'd be genius. I think this is the perfect way to do the Cena 17th is for against Punk, because people would believe like maybe they are going to have Punk retire him. It would kind of work. I think it'd be great. And maybe you do. I don't think you do. I think you let Cena win 17th, but it would be great. And I think Punk versus Cena would be a money match for WrestleMania 41. Those would be your two main events. You got Roman Rock on night 1, CM Punk, John Cena night 2. As far as the other championship, Cody's, I don't want him to turn heel. I love him as a baby face. I don't think they're going to turn him heel, but everybody keeps telling me they're going to turn him heel, and I really hope he doesn't. Really hope he doesn't. So my thought process is, looking at this PLE schedule, most likely, I think Gunther is going to be the one to take the belt off Cody Rhodes. Most likely, Bash in Berlin would be my thought. Why not have Gunther win it there? That's August 31st. It's after SummerSlam. That would probably be the most likely time before WrestleMania. I could see Cody losing it. If you're not going to do it there, you're doing it at WrestleMania. Have Gunther win the Rumble, go up against Cody. To me, that would make sense. I'd like to see Cody have a long reign. Long as in like about a year, I think would be about right. If he lost to Bash in Berlin, I wouldn't be upset. I'd understand. I'd be like, okay, he had a good 6-month run. And that's fine. Not 6 month. It's like 4 months. Like a 4-month run. 4.5. So, well, it's honestly almost 7 months. Oh, goodness. Almost 5 months. Can't do, oh, goodness. It's not doing proper math. Almost 5-month run there. So that could be cool too. But I would love to see Cody hold it all the way till next year's WrestleMania. And then him versus Gunther one-on-one. Gunther winning the Rumble feels like it's needed. But I also get in Berlin, Gunther winning it there would be electric as opposed to wherever Mania 41 is, which is Minnesota or Vegas. So, I get it. Okay. I think that's all I had to say about WrestleMania. I think it's the greatest WrestleMania of all time. I've watched X7. I think X7 is amazing, but I honestly think this is even better. Night 1, I will say, probably not as... If you split WrestleMania X7 into 2 parts, I think Night 1 of WrestleMania X7 would be better than Night 1 of 40, but I think Night 2 of 40 is better than Night 2 of WrestleMania X7. There's just a lot of really good stuff. Also, Jade Cargill looks awesome. Her and Bianca Belair obviously going to win the tag belts at some point and then eventually turn each other, setting up them against each other at WrestleMania 41, which is going to be awesome. Love to see Jade Cargill go on an undefeated run, too. That would be pretty sweet. Have her do like a little Asuka undefeated streak. It'd be sick. But yeah, WWE's in a great spot, more popular than ever, cooler than ever. I'm really loving it, and I'm really, really impressed with everything they're doing. Really happy for Triple H, Paul Levesque, everything he's been doing there. Yeah, I'm really happy for Cody Rhodes, and I'm just really excited. I feel like it was a really good week of WWE when after WrestleMania 40, like a week after, I'm still like super excited to see what stories they're doing. If your post-WrestleMania stories are really good, that makes me feel really good because I feel like Backlash in the past has kind of been a little meh. And we remember the days of Roman Reigns versus Samoa Joe main eventing Backlash and nobody caring. So I'm glad that we're at a point where it feels like you can't really look away from the product because there's always something interesting going on. And I love that. Okay. I think that's all I had to say. I love what WWE's doing. I think WrestleMania 40 is the best WrestleMania of all time. It was amazing. And so I'm very happy. All right, let's go to NBA predictions. Let's start off. We're going to take a trip back and look at my original predictions for the NBA from the beginning of the season. So let's do that. That was episode 65. We're on 93. Long ways away from that. Okay, so let's start off with my predictions. For the East, I had the Bucks with the best record, the Celtics with the second best record, the Cavs with the third best record, Knicks with the fourth best record. You know what? I'm just going to read it down. I had it from top to bottom. Bucks, Celtics, Cavs, Knicks, Sixers, Hawks, Heat, Magic, Pistons, Wizards, Nets, Pacers, Raptors, Bulls, Hornets. What stands out here? Any surprises? I got the top 8 about right. Had the Magic a lot lower. A little lower than they actually were. They were 5th seed. Cavs were a 3 seed. In my world, in the real world, they're 4 seed. Bucks at 1 was a bit ambitious, I will admit. Probably should put the Celtics at 1. Bucks are the 3rd and the 3rd seed. And the 3 seed to the 8 seed are all, well, actually, the 2 seed to the 8 seed are all within 4 games of each other. Whereas the 1 seed, the Celtics, has 64 wins, as opposed to the 2 seeds 50 and the 8 seeds 46. So the Eastern Conference, really interesting spot here. A lot of 40-win teams. But I got the worst teams about right. I wasn't like right on anything, but I also wasn't really wrong. I had a general idea, and I don't really think that's that impressive. And it's not that interesting to talk about either. Really, the biggest one that stands out is I had the Pistons in the play-in as a 9 seed, and they had the worst record in the NBA at 14 and 68. And they were absolutely terrible this year. And I've said for years, Pistons 2024. And one of my buddies pointed that out to me the other day. I said, I have Pistons 2024. I was hoping he forgot about that. And I was like, well, it's because they traded Sadiq Bey. It ruined everything. Oh, the Pistons are so bad. I think they truly might be my real true favorite team, but they're so bad. Oh, my gosh, they're an embarrassment. And it's not like there's much in this draft to help them out. So it's going to be rough. Let's go to the West. I had Nuggets, Kings, Thunder, Suns, Warriors, Timberwolves, Grizzlies, Lakers, Pelicans, Spurs, Clippers, Mavericks, Jazz, Trailblazers, and the Rockets. Rockets did significantly better than I thought. Blazers were slightly worse than I expected. Big thing with the Blazers is Scoot Henderson is nowhere near as good as I thought he was going to be, which is fine because Wemby is everything I thought he'd be, but the Spurs are much worse than I believed them to be. Wemby killed it. The Spurs did not. Grizzlies were very bad, but they had a number of issues. So, that's why they're not in the playoffs. Big one here, Timberwolves did significantly better than I expected. I remember 2 years ago, the 2023 season, I actually picked them to be like a top seed, and they kind of disappointed me, so I didn't do that again. And then this was the year I should have done that. They were almost the 1 seed, which is absolutely bonkers. I remember putting the Thunder at 3 and thinking, a little risky, but I believe in this team. And then they ended up winning 57 games and being the 1 seed. So props to that Thunder squad. I didn't have the Clippers in the playoffs. They did make the playoffs. I didn't have the Mavericks in the playoffs. They made the playoffs. So that's huge. Everything else other than that, it's relatively what I expected. Kings are really the big one. I had them as a 2 seed. They might not even be in the playoffs. They're a play-in team at the moment. As far as awards went, I had MVP Nikola Jokic. Pretty solid. Rookie of the year, I had Victor Wembanyama. They're not even posting odds anymore for the second place for Rookie of the year, which is crazy. Coach of the Year, Mark Dangle. I think I actually got that right. Pretty proud of that one. Most improved, Jordan Poole. No, definitely not. Six-man, Bobby Portis. Predicting six-man is always weird, but I tried, and I don't think it's that bad. I think he's like fifth in odds. Defensive, I picked Giannis. I think I've been picking that for years. I got to stop. He's good defensively, but he's not going to win another one. All right, let's talk about my actual predictions for... whoa, my bad. I got my finals prediction at the beginning of the year. I got to tell you guys that real quick. Let's pull that up. My Eastern Conference Finals was Bucks over Cavs in 6, and my Western Conference Finals was Nuggets over Thunder in 6, which I actually still have predicted, so I'm pretty proud of that one. My NBA Finals, I had Nuggets over Bucks in 7. That was my original predictions. Let's go to my predictions now. Start off with the East. First thing we got the play-in. We got the number 9 Bulls versus the number 10 Hawks. Winner goes on to face the loser of the 7-8 matchup. I'm going to take the 9 Bulls beat the 10 Hawks. I saw Dom2K tweet, one of the first YouTubers I ever watched. Still love Dom2K. He tweeted out, "You are going to watch Bulls versus Hawks playing, and you will like it." I will not be watching this, and I will not like it, but I just thought it was funny. Not an interesting matchup at all. And we got the 7 Sixers versus the 8 Heat. I'm going to take the Sixers to win this for no reason. I just feel like I could see them and everybody being like, "Oh, the Heat are as good this playoffs." And the Heat end up being an 8 seed and all the Celtics fans shaking their boots. Let's go to the first round. Then we have the 8 Heat versus the 9 Bulls. I'm taking the Heat here. So that makes the Heat the 8 seed and the Sixers the 7 seed, just like it lines up if there wasn't a plan. Let's go to the first round. Number 1 Celtics versus number 8 Heat. I'm going to take the Celtics in 6. A part of me would like to take the Heat, but I don't want to bet on it. I don't want to bet on it happening. I'll let it be surprised. I'll let myself be surprised. If the Heat are really just that money in the playoffs, let's see it. I don't feel like picking it. I just don't. Then we got the number 2 Knicks versus the number 7 Sixers. I'm going to take the Knicks in 5 here. This Knicks team's really good. I think they've got a guy in the playoffs who can just go off and win them games in Jalen Brunson. It's a scary team. I like what they're doing a lot. I think if there's any team that you would say who can make a sneaky run to the finals out of either conference, it is the Knicks. They are the sneaky team. I know a 2 seed isn't that sneaky, but I think this Knicks team, not a lot of people are taking to be in the finals, and I think if there's any team that's just going to get together and start mowing down teams and come out of nowhere, it's going to be this Knicks team. So I'm taking over the Sixers in 5. We got Bucks versus Pacers. I'm going to take the Bucks in 5. I don't see any sweeps here yet. That might be the only one I take. Pacers have played a lot worse than they did early on in the season. Tyrese Halliburton's played a lot worse than he did early on in the season. But I also say that I don't think his Bucks team is looking as good as I'd like it to look. Cavs versus Magic. This is so funny to me because I think the Magic are in the position where the Cavs were about 2 years ago, where it's like, hey, we made the playoffs, we're young and really fun. And the Cavs are kind of like pissed because they're like, yeah, we made the playoffs 2 years ago and we're young and fun too. And now we haven't really gotten better than that point. So the Cavs are really hoping to get a big win here. I do think the Cavs will win in 6. I would love to see the Magic upset them, though. I'm not going to lie. I think that'd be fun. I really do. But I don't think the Magic are going to win this series. I think the Cavs are better. But I think the Cavs are going to lose the Celtics next round in 6. So I'm just going to say it right now. Then I got Knicks versus Bucks. Here's the thing. If this Knicks team is playing the Celtics, I would take them for an upset. But I really don't want to take... I don't want to call the Knicks thing and bet against Giannis. I hate doing that. I hate betting against Giannis. I really do not like betting against him. I know I say that in the last 2 years, if I would have bet against him, I would have been doing pretty well. But I don't want to do that. So I'm going to take the Bucks in 7 over the Knicks. But I'm being honest, if this series actually happens and the Knicks wins, I'm not going to be shocked. I'm really not. If this Knicks team goes to the finals, I'm not going to be surprised. I'm telling you right now, the Knicks could do it. Eastern Conference Finals, we got the Bucks versus the Celtics. I'm taking the Bucks in 6. I think that's pretty reasonable. I'm not a Jason Tatum. I am a elite Jason Tatum hater. I don't think he's very good in the playoffs. I don't think he's a bad player. I think he's good, but I don't think he'd be the best player in a championship team. I'm just going to say it right now. And maybe this is the playoffs he proves me wrong. To me, this probably should be the year he proves me wrong. 64 wins. I think a lot of people think they should be winning the finals. A lot of people think they should be in it. A lot of people think they should win it. this is the year he can show me that he's that guy and that he's really good at basketball. I'm waiting to see it. I am waiting to see it. Because my thought is, I've remember that finals a couple years ago when I took the Celtics to win. And he played so terrible that I do not believe in Jason Tatum. I'm a Jason Tatum hater. I have no faith in him. So let's see him prove me wrong. Let's go to the Western Conference. Let's get to the play-in. We have the number 10 Warriors versus number 9 Kings. I'm going to take the Warriors over the Kings. Ends the Kings series. Steph Curry probably goes off. So sorry, Kings, your season is over. Number 8 Lakers versus number 7 Pels. Lakers find a way out of this. Lakers get the win. Then we get 10 Warriors versus 7 Pels. I probably should take the Pelicans to win this. I'm going to take the Warriors. I don't want to bet against Steph Curry in a play-in game. I feel like he can just get it done. First round, we got the number 1 Thunder versus number 8 Warriors. I'm going to take the Thunder in 5. I don't think the Warriors can win more than one game here. Number 2 Nuggets versus number 6 Lakers. Oh, number 2 Nuggets versus number 7 Lakers. Nuggets in 5 here. Lakers might get one win somehow. Number 3 T-Wolves versus number 6 Suns. T-Wolves in 5. Clips versus Mavs. This goes 7, but I'm going to take the Clippers. I am not comfortable with that pick. Not going to lie. Second round, we get the Thunder versus the Clippers. I'm going to take the Thunder in 6. Then we get the Nuggets versus the T-Wolves. This goes 7, but Jokic comes out on top, baby. Western Conference Finals, Thunder versus Nuggets. I'm going to take the Nuggets in 6 here. They beat the inexperienced Thunder team that had a pretty great run to the Western Conference Finals, but Nuggets take care of them here. Then we get the 2024 NBA Finals, the 2 best players in the league matching up. The Denver Nuggets versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Nikola Jokic is a better player, though. He also has a better team. I'm kind of surprised they even took the Bucks this far. I think I'm just doing it because I'm stubborn. That's why instead of 7 games, I'm taking the Nuggets in 6. Obviously, Jokic is Finals MVP. As far as NBA awards go, MVP for this year, I have Nikola Jokic. Best player in the NBA, deserved it last year. They messed up. They're giving it to him this year. The Luka thing, he's really good, don't get me wrong, but I think Jokic deserves it. Rookie of the Year, Victor Wembanyama, for all the obvious reasons. Sixth Man of the Year, Naz Reid, because it's funny, but it'll most likely probably be Malik Monk. Defensive Player of the Year, I think it should be Victor Wembanyama. I think he's been absolutely crazy. It's going to go to Rudy Gobert, but I think Wembanyama deserves it, and I would love to see him the first rookie to win it. Most Improved Player, Kobe White. It's probably not going to be Kobe White. It's going to be Tyrese Maxey, but to me, Kobe White is exactly what the award is kind of built for. A guy who just kind of floundered around, and then this year got way better. And Tyrese Maxey, we all knew he was going to be this good after like the first season he played. So I don't really get it. But, you know, whatever. Coach of the Year, Mark Dangle. That's like a lock in my opinion. Maybe they give it to Mazzulla because the Celtics have such a good record, but to me it should be Mark Dangle and the Thunder. That's pretty impressive because it usually goes to, hey, we didn't think your team would be as good as it is. That's usually what the Coach of the Year goes to. So, to me, that makes sense. Okay, I stand by what I said. If there's going to be a team that randomly makes a run to the finals this year, it is the Knicks, and then they'll lose the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are a lock to come out of the West. I just don't see a team beating them. I think the argument would be the Thunder or the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves argument is pretty strong, actually. Rudy Gobert guarding Jokic. But I think Jamal Murray in the playoffs really steps up. And I think it's the thing people are forgetting. Also, this Nuggets team is really good. They won 57 games. It's a quality roster. I don't think losing Bruce Brown made them that much worse, guys. Christian Brown just kind of came in. So, yeah. Okay. I think that's it. As far as Ramblings, Reels, and Writings, I watched Tangled last night. Haven't watched it in years. Still love it. Still a banger. Excellent film. Okay. I think that's it. Oh, I watched a Goofy movie the other day. Classic. Really great father-son story. Really got to enjoy it. It's a good one. If you haven't seen it in a while, you should check it back out. It's really good. Okay, I think that's it from me. Thanks for tuning in. We covered a lot. I think Next episode will be NFL draft talk, right? Yeah. Yeah, that will be. It'll be my mock draft. So it'll be super duper exciting. Okay. Well, that's all from me. Thanks, guys.